today, people who spend the time to experiment and learn AI and have some mastery over it before everybody else will have a leg up in terms of the job market. If you're an employee and you refuse to try or to learn the tool, that's not a good position to be in. This is something that will help your career, not hurt it. Rainbow has a natural philosophy of, look, we're a big company, 900 stores, $1.5 billion in revenue, but in a lot of ways, we run like a mom and pop or like a startup.
Yeah.
They are very good at taking bets, and if it doesn't pan out, we drop it and move on. It's not like we don't sit and dwell on the things that don't work. It encourages, the risk-taking, the experimenting, and that's really what you have to do to win.
I have to believe that you faced pushback on using AI for PDP assets.
We faced pushback until the images got so good people couldn't tell the difference. There was no pushback to AI as a concept. There was a pushback in terms of quality. As the quality has reached a point where people can't tell now.
Do you envision a world, not necessarily for Rainbow, but for e-commerce, that fully use AI rather than studio or photographers at all?
Yes.
I'm here with David Koss. He's an entrepreneur. I'm going to say you're an entrepreneur because that's what you were first.
That's okay. I'll take that.
Entrepreneur, dad, mentor, friend, VP of e-com and digital marketing at Rainbow Shops, which is how I got to know you. So today, I'd love to kind of just chat through all things. No agenda outside of, I want to learn from you, and I have learned from you a ton. But specifically in the space of AI, where's it going? What are your thoughts on it? But, AI didn't happen overnight, but there was a long road of risks that people took to ever even get us in this chair talking about AI. I know that you've seen many waves of tech. So I kind of want to start at the beginning. You started a company called PriceScan?
Called PriceScan, yes.
PriceScan.com. I went to go look at it. I went to go read all about it. And what I found made me think there has to be a story here. And I feel like every person that I've really admired sitting across from me in this chair specifically has a story on a risk that they took that taught them a ton, that got them where they are. And so I'm kind of curious about that story first, just how it came about, what you learned.
All right. So I'm going to go back a little bit.
Back.
So I graduated college at the time personal computing was just getting rolling, right? So when I was in school, the IBM PC came out.
Nice.
And so, this whole wave of how are computers going to impact the world when you could have one on your desk and they weren't, a mainframe that you needed special programmers and punch cards and the whole bit. So I came out of school, did consulting.
That's such a catch-all term. What did you consult?
I did a mix of management and then at the time, technology consulting.
Okay, so right place, right time already.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the things that would happen is people would say, I'm looking to buy a computer, I'm looking to buy a printer, whatever it was, and they wanted advice. What should I buy? Where should I buy it?
Don't buy a printer because you'll cry trying to set it up, which is still
Well, I mean, back then, you didn't really have that choice, right? For people, computing was a rare thing, right? Things were more expensive, less people had them. But because you were an expert, people would come and ask those questions. And back in the day, there was something called the computer shopper that looks like a phone book. Now, I don't know if you're old enough to remember what phone books were.
Of course I do. I used it. Yeah, they're yellow. The pages were yellow.
And this thing came out, I don't know if
I used them as a booster seat at one point.
There you go.
Maybe that was my age, but yeah.
So I don't remember if Computer Shopper came out once a month or once a week. It came out all the time. It's just filled with ads. When we got to the late 90s and the internet was just getting started, I thought, this is one of those, we had newspapers, we had radio, we had TV. Internet's going to be the next new medium. Geez, to plant a flag in the ground in the early days would be like starting one of the first TV stations.
Okay.
Right? So we're looking for something to do. And when clients would come and ask questions about what tech to buy.
Yeah.
What do? We spend time reading every ad and kind of making lists of, okay, here's the popular printer. Here's what 20 different retailers are selling that item for. And said, well, geez, we could put this stuff in a database, make it searchable online. Who would buy anything without being able to do that instant price comparison?
Oh, I still love price shopping.
So that's where PriceScan came from.
Okay.
Right? We first did it for all different kinds of computing goods. Then digital cameras came along, and that was our single biggest category. Right? Because the ramp up to digital cameras, the number of megapixels would change like every 3 months.
But you were ready with all the best information.
And you were always ready to replace it and buy something else. Flat panel TVs came along after that, right? So PriceScan from the late 90s.
Wait, how did you make money? How did it make money? It was just a database.
We did 3 different kind of pivots through that process.
Okay.
So when we first started, really the only way you made money on the internet was selling eyeballs. So you were selling ad space just like you did in the traditional world.
Yeah.
That then changed partway through where we started selling clicks. You started selling sales leads essentially.
Oh yeah.
Right? We sold clicks before Google even existed. And really what's become Google Shopping is what PriceScan used to be.
That is quite the claim to fame.
And that's a story. So my partner in the venture has got a PhD in finance.
There you go. Dream team.
He clearly saw that we were going to get run over by the monopoly that was Google.
Yeah.
Right? Because the playbook we knew they were going to run is they would give away what we did for free till they ran everybody out of the market, and then they'd come in and be able to charge a monopoly rent.
Yeah.
Right? So that's essentially what happened. Kind of our last pivot, though, was we created indexes that showed how prices changed over time, that you could then create derivatives to trade based on that.
Okay.
So just like a farmer doesn't put a seed of corn into the ground without knowing what they can sell that corn crop for at the end, would Panasonic build a flat panel TV plant?
So this would be more of a B2B play, right?
No, this is financial services.
Yeah.
That's right. So this is the ability to have an index that you can create a derivative on, so you can essentially bet on future prices. You could go long on Apple and short the iPhone. You could bet on the price of pharmaceuticals. Anything that had a retail price, we had patents around being able to create an index based on that you could then create derivatives from.
Okay.
And we knew that would give us something proprietary, right?
Right.
Google would not be able to.
Especially, if you
and we were marching towards creating a financial exchange. We had talked to all the big exchanges. They were all interested. We thought we were going to do it on our own. We were raising money.
Was it fun?
Very prominent people involved.
Or is it stressful? Or is it both?
So I lived through the 99.com bubble bursting. PriceScan would have been the first website to go public that made money, because at the time everybody lost money. That bubble burst because we had self-funded. We continued to run, right? But that was kind of a bloodbath. When we were ready to go with the financial exchange, the 2007 financial collapse happened, and derivatives became a bad word.
Right.
So that essentially shut down that avenue.
You were both really lucky and really unlucky at the same time.
Look, as you
that's a combination.
As you learn in life, you just play the game, and sometimes you could do everything perfectly, but if luck doesn't break your way, it doesn't happen.
Okay, so.
And so kind of when the 2007 bubble burst and we knew that there was no real path forward with those, that's when essentially we shut up shop. And, I took everything that I learned over that 14 or 15 years of kind of watching e-com grow from its infancy to that point to say, okay, let me take that knowledge and go play it on the retail side.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years.
I mean, I think that would crumble some people. They would be like, "Oh, I don't want to touch this." Like, because you got really close to something that you really wanted, which was to make a bunch of money from it.
I mean, you know what though? Well, look, I think you do it because you love you love the whole creation of that idea. And the other thing is, I don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
I would not have wanted to be in this position thinking, well, what if I had I took the safe way, didn't do the startup.
Yeah.
What if I had done it?
Yeah.
I don't have any of those regrets.
Yeah. I mean, which is amazing.
So, look.
And it's led you here.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You keep playing the game.
Yeah. And you've definitely won along the way after that, I feel like.
I think I've been pretty fortunate.
Yeah. So then you took that wisdom, knowledge, experience, and you worked in retail, helping them tackle some really big transitions, right? So going from retail to moving things online. What was that like? And I mean, how much fear did people have around the internet and retail?
I mean, I came into the e-commerce space in the early 2010s. Again, we clearly weren't first, but similar to what happened in the personal computing revolution.
Yeah.
People could recognize that this was an area they needed to be in.
Yeah.
But, look, if we take people who understand technology and people that don't, there's the 10, 15, 20% that understand it, the 80% that don't. People fear what they don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, they needed people to come in who understood the technology but still could talk the retail side.
Right.
To help them make that transition. And I think, during that time, kind of the little mini wave that happened, right? So the internet makes e-commerce possible.
Yeah.
But really, the advent of the iPhone.
I was going to say mobile.
Right? Mobile was what made that space universal.
Right.
Because if we look at an average consumer couldn't necessarily afford a desktop computer and a dial-up modem and all the rest of those pieces.
Yeah.
But when the iPhone came out and then the Android phones came out, and everyone could have a computer in their pocket for essentially the price of their monthly cell phone plan.
Yeah.
That was the great equalizer. Gave everyone access to the internet. And so to me, that's what's enabled e-com to grow and to and to continue to grow.
I remember, I still have my first vivid memory of seeing someone at a restaurant wearing a shirt, pulling out my phone, typing into Google what the shirt looked like, finding it on ASOS, and purchasing it immediately, and having that quick moment of whoa, I just made something happen in 6 seconds that just wasn't even top of mind for anyone. Or wasn't possible. And so companies realized this was happening. Some were really slow to optimize for that very situation, and some were really quick too. And I think that's noticeable now in the e-com world, who optimizes for the on-the-go busy shopper.
I think we're starting to learn. I mean, there was a whole period of time where, did you put the effort into mobile or not? We're now at a point, especially if you look at the younger generation, even if they own a notebook or a tablet, the phone is their primary device. So it's not even a thought anymore.
Yeah.
Every time I go in and I see designers working on these big screen monitors, I want to scream.
You're what are you doing that for?
Take your phone out, because that's how everybody interacts with your website.
Right.
Not on a big screen monitor.
What would you say the split is of shoppers, mobile to desktop, for Rainbow at least?
It's 90%. So 9 out of 10 people use Rainbow on a mobile device.
See, that is
90.
That's
and 90% of our transactions happen on mobile because, right, we're serving customers in kind of the lower half of the income spectrum. And for those people, the only computing device they have is that phone. So they don't have the option to shop on the phone yet purchase on a computer or a laptop.
Yeah.
Everything is happening on the phone.
Yeah. And when it comes to AI, I feel like this is another wave, but you've also watched AI before it was cool and trendy. I know you're early to try Attentive and different products that really are personalizing and were probably not even called AI at the time, potentially, but you being on the early side of everything, when did you start to be like, oh, this is going to be something? And were you tentative around AI, or did you always just have that dive right in mentality around it?
Look, when ChatGPT came out, you could clearly see this is something different.
Right.
I mean, when Bill Gates is somebody who I've always admired and follow. And when Bill was kind of blown away by what OpenAI had done,
You're like,
that clearly gets your attention.
Right.
I think kind of the first application of it we saw was actually with Attentive.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, Attentive is an SMS, as a mobile messaging company. And because SMS is all text,
Right.
The ability to use AI to kind of consume all of the messages that you've sent over the years, look at how each individual person kind of performs with those messages.
Yeah.
And being able to use AI to write individualized messages for each person, one-to-one.
I sold it, I believe.
It is, that was, you want to see the future.
Mm-hmm.
That clearly was it. We could see what the benefit was from doing it. Even our ownership that are not really tech-savvy people, when they got those messages, they're like, who wrote this? How did this happen?
How do they know me? Yeah.
Right? I mean, it feels different.
Yeah.
And so you could clearly see, we've been talking about personalization in e-commerce for 15 years, and I would argue it's basic segmentation at best.
Yeah. There's so much opportunity.
This is the first time I've actually seen what I consider personalization.
Yeah.
When I write if I'm going to send 100,000 messages this week, and I'm sending 100,000 unique messages that are individually tailored for each person, that's personalization.
Yeah.
And why they do it today for SMS, we want to do this for email.
Yeah.
How do we extend this to the website? How many other places can we use AI to really make that experience truly personalized? I think those would be the next set of innovations you see in the e-com space.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously at Leica we're generating, we're on the image side and the asset side. I would love to go to a website. I always shop petite. I'm 5'1". I want to land on the landing page and have a curated capsule in petite that they think I might like. That's what I want to land on the website too. That might be a little bit picky tech millennial of me, but I do think it's the future where people have less time and they don't really want to sort through hundreds of SKUs. And so they're like, can you just show me what I want to see? And then I'll be quicker to buy it. I do think personalization is the future. And I actually haven't seen a ton of AI around personalization with websites like that, unless I just haven't seen them. Do you feel like it's the future?
There's definitely room for it in the future.
Right.
It's not here yet. Right. So other than that,
white space, everyone.
Other than that SMS example,
yeah,
people are talking about it, but the infrastructure you need to both capture and then be able to deliver that experience, we haven't kind of caught up to that yet.
Yeah, that's an opportunity, I think. I don't want to do it.
It's a big opportunity. And then if we look at kind of the image side of things, I remember very early on, I was at an e-com event and got to meet one of the co-founders of a company called Adore Me. And they're in the lingerie space, and they must have been doing this 10 years ago, maybe longer. Every time they took a PDP photo, they took it on 2 different models and 2 different locations.
Whoa.
And
that
then
sounds
they
expensive.
A/B tested both images against each other on the product detail page because they found they couldn't predict it ahead of time, but often there was a clear winner that they wouldn't have known if they hadn't have run that test.
Okay.
It's the only retailer I've ever heard of that's done this, but there's no doubt in the e-commerce world, we sell pictures.
Right.
Because
they have to make you feel something.
People can't touch and see you can't touch and feel the product. You got to do it based on the image.
Right.
And the way we shoot images matters. Okay. And like everything else we've learned through social, nobody knows which things are going to work or not work ahead of time. You don't know until you test. And just because you've got to test with a result doesn't mean you don't need to retest after that.
Right. But that's really expensive.
So AI's ability to help us generate images, to let us ultimately do those A/B tests, or to also ingest, what are we seeing on the website? What are we seeing in terms of behavior? Can we see anything with some images perform better than others? What is it about those images that make them perform better?
Right. It's almost allowing almost to what you just said about the lingerie company. It's allowing the curiosity to come back because you're not like, well, I have X amount budget for this studio ops, so I have to go shoot this image because this is the one we picked. You can get curious. What background actually resonates with people? What model actually resonates? You can do a bit more of the storyboard. But I will say, being in the industry of selling this and being at the front of that concept of you can A/B test and the sky is the limit when it comes to the images that you can turn around. There's a lot of discomfort around, but I want to do it in the studio. There's like a clinging to studio ops, traditional studio ops, to feel like they're in control. I feel like you've been really open to experimenting with studio ops in general, studio operations, how photography is done, which ones go on models, which one could AI leverage. How do you feel, like, how did you make the call of this is something we should experiment with?
I mean, look, I think we did it out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting that level of content in a traditional studio setup is just cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
It would be hard to cost justify it, right? AI's ability to generate image and image variants at a tiny fraction of the cost of shooting them in the real world, that now makes that possible.
Right.
Like, I'll give you like another even simpler example. So we send a lot of email.
Yeah.
We do
to customers, like
right.
promotional email.
We do basic segmentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we sell adult product in 2 size ranges. So in junior and plus,
Mm-hmm.
and then we sell kids clothing from babies up through high school.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know what your preference is, so if I know, you only buy juniors, and you don't have any interest in kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't want to send you kids emails.
Yeah, because you're spending money on those emails.
And I don't want to send you anything with plus either.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, vice versa. But if I send one generic email, I've got creative costs for doing the one generic. If I try to do a version for juniors, do a version for plus, do a version for kids, do one for people that want some combination of those, the creative permutations get so expensive that it becomes cost prohibitive. Yet we know when we do it, the conversion rate on those segmented emails is
higher,
far superior to the ones that aren't.
You're sending less, so you're
sending the same amount. You're just targeting the creative to each of those audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So now what happens in an AI world? In an AI world now where we can generate assets, right? For all of those things with prompts rather than shooting the content in the studio, may completely revolutionize, what we do in terms of how we send that stuff out. So I think kind of in a world where we're struggling to find ways to improve conversion rate, I think applying AI to make the experience better for each person is going to be the next big area of opportunity to mine.
Right. Because, I mean, you've talked about customer experience for a long time, being on that website. You've talked about the amount of time being on a website and not leaving the website. What obviously people are finding stuff that is still interesting to them. They're scrolling, they're spending time there. Assets have always been time prohibitive. So if now you can have editorial shoots and 3 or 4 PDP pictures, they just give people more to imagine, right? More to imagine themselves in the product, more to imagine. It can be more artistic, more creative. But I will say, again, this comes back to this is new. I have to believe that you faced pushback on using AI for PDP assets. I have to believe you did.
We faced pushback until the images got so good people couldn't tell the difference. Once there was no pushback to AI as a concept.
Right.
There was a pushback in terms of quality. As the quality has reached a point where, people can't tell now, right? I've watched people misguess both ways.
Me too.
We shoot it on a model and they say it's AI, and we show them the AI and they say it's a model.
Yeah.
That has eliminated the kind of the quality issue.
Yeah.
And again, especially in our business, because cost matters, there's not been any pushback in terms of, right? We would have never been able to afford to do things on in a studio to the extent that we're going to do them with AI.
Do you envision a world, not necessarily for Rainbow, but for e-commerce, that fully use AI in images rather than studio or photographers at all?
Yes.
Because it riles people. I mean, I see it all the time. I'll ask people, I'll do the little test. Do you think this one's AI or this one? And when they get it wrong, there's some sort of like offensiveness that people take, like, well, and so I think as an empathetic person, I enjoy being in the seat because I can sit in empathy with, like, this is changing and this is slightly uncozy.
I mean, I don't know. People fuss about that, but people don't fuss about the extent that we Photoshop images.
Totally.
Okay? I mean, nobody discloses how much they Photoshop an
Totally.
image.
They don't even look like the same person or
Correct.
sometimes a person at all.
So, I don't know. I think, I think we're in this weird transition period where there's some hand-wringing or fussing or whatever. People are going to get used to this is going to go. I'm sure we're going to come up with some kind of disclosure rules.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll be interested in that too because this has come up a lot. It's like, should we tell people? Should we tell people that this person isn't real? And I go back and forth. And I answered this before on a Q&A, but I go back and forth. Is it harmful? Is the first question that I ask. Is this doing any harm? Does this change someone's opinion? If the answer is no, I really struggle with this idea of like,
I mean, look, I'm sure at some point as a society, we're going to be faced with,
what's
how
real,
do we
what's
tell
not?
somebody
Yeah.
what's real and what's fake?
Right.
So maybe there will be some disclosure around that. And I don't think anyone's going to care. It's going to make a difference.
Right.
If we had to disclose every time somebody photoshops an
Yeah.
image, can you imagine that?
Or even just regular, normal people find.
I mean, and you talk about if people really cared. If you remember American Eagle, Aerie did that whole campaign on we're not going to Photoshop anything.
Yeah.
Well, did anybody else pick up on that? Did that go anywhere?
I think everyone was like, cool.
You heard a lot about it when they first did it.
Yeah. I enjoyed seeing the stretch marks personally, but you're right that it like came and went.
And
the
then it
campaign
went,
came and went, right?
Right? Nobody talks about it anymore. It's not like it got any widespread. Everybody Photoshops just as much as they always did.
Actually, do they still do that? And is that still their thing?
I don't know.
That's the thing. We just
See,
don't
and the
know.
fact that you don't even know.
Yeah. I think I'm often sitting with these uncomfortable conversations, but it comes down to how do we scale and how do we stretch our budgets in a world of
what
tariffs.
What are we going to do with these SMS messages? If an AI writes the message, do we have to disclose that an AI wrote it?
Actually, right now, no.
Again,
Exactly.
so I think and then what happens if the AI is writing with the prompt of a human and just tweaking it, and the human takes it, then after it writes it and tweaks it a little bit, how do you know where something starts and stops?
Yeah. But what would you say to the question? Because you've done some, what I believe that we're selling at Leica, and for anyone that doesn't know, generating images for PDPs with AI. But what I believe we're selling is change management. What I've watched companies struggle with is, okay, but we have all these studio people or photographers or Photoshop experts. How do we change their role effectively to adopt AI? So the person in charge, in this case, I've watched you navigate a lot of change management, and there's a lot of fear that people have of losing their jobs. So I would ask you the question: what do you say to people that say AI is going to take jobs in our world, in our e-com world?
I mean, look, in my lifetime and from what I've read historically, there have been almost no technological changes that have caused big disruptions in the labor force. Again, I was around a little bit after spreadsheets came out, okay? And it's not like, all the accountants in the world disappeared, right? We have more
No, they just
accountants
love them.
and financial analysts than ever. I mean, it clearly changed, and people who could do spreadsheets before everyone else clearly got a head up in their career. But it's not like there was some widespread unemployment with accountants. I mean, look, I think today, people who spend the time to experiment and learn AI and have some mastery over it before everybody else will have a leg up in terms of the job market. But I don't see this as being a big disruptor. I mean, I'll give you another story. We run lots of different AI experiments at Rainbow, and I kind of put them into two different buckets.
Okay.
We have a bucket where, kind of the goal of the project is essentially, can we build a robot to do what a human does, but do it more efficiently?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to replace a person.
Okay.
And then we have experiments where the AI brings, it's like an enhancement, or it brings like some superhuman capability. So it's a big
What a person can't do then.
or it enables them to do more than they could possibly do without it. It's an
Process big
enhancement.
data, like an example of.
I know. So all the experiments we've run where we've tried to build a robot to replace a person, they've all failed.
Yeah.
The ones where we use it to enhance people, they've been huge winners. So when we write product copy or product descriptions, we let the AI do a first pass at it.
Yeah.
We have, human specialists that then read it and possibly tweak it.
Yeah.
But the amount of really good text that we're able to write and get through in a day is now so much greater than it was before. What we're doing with this, with your imagery,
Right.
The number, the quality, the quantity, the it's so superior to what we were doing in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability to do that for an inexpensive, affordable fashion brand,
Mm-hmm.
to give that customer the same kind of experience that a Polo Ralph Lauren customer would have, is it makes a dramatic difference. And these are things that we just could not do without the AI as an enhancement, in that process.
Right. I mean, I hear you saying, keep hiring great talent. Keep investing in your employees, in your people. And then a way to invest in them is by giving them their wherewithal with AI to supercharge what is already true of them. They're creative, make them more creative.
Our developers use AI to help code. It hasn't replaced any developers. They're more efficient and they can get more things done. So I think if you're an employee and you refuse to try or to learn the tool.
I don't know anyone like that, but they're out there.
They're out there. That's not a good position to be in.
Yeah.
But you really shouldn't fear it. This is something that will help your career, not hurt it.
I mean, you're a dad. You probably are advising your sons on their careers and future careers. I would assume that you were like, hey, you should lean in and learn everything you can.
I mean, they all use it,
Mm-hmm.
and used it probably even before I did.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm encouraged. I think people... Look, and I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing such crazy valuations in the AI space.
Yeah.
Right? The rate of adoption is happening much faster and much more broadly than any of the other technology waves that I've experienced.
Yeah. What I've found interesting is you brought up some some brands that are iconic, but AI in some ways is the great equalizer, because now if Tommy Hilfiger could have all these beautiful models in Greece, well, Rainbow can too now. And I think there's some brands that I think will struggle with AI being the great equalizer, who have always been on top and have always had the budget and the talent. And to close that gap, I think is going to be an interesting season for e-com. Little brands can make it to the top now. That's what I've seen.
Yes, I think it certainly levels the playing field.
Yeah.
And makes you compete on things other than just kind of I don't want to say a natural financial advantage, but look, for the same thing that mobile computing did to the internet, right? When it let everybody have essentially a portal to the whole world, that was truly a great equalizer.
Yeah. I mean, even though you're on the front end and you've adopted AI in a way that I find quite impressive, being a part of our partnership. But I know there's also a cautionary tale in there too. I know that it's not just try it all, break everything. How do you kind of evaluate what, either from a business standpoint or from a tool standpoint, what to try? Because we were just talking about, everyone's trying to sell you everything right now.
Yep.
How do you evaluate yes, no, yes, maybe? Like, what's your criteria?
I mean, look, I think first you got to be humbled to know your guess may be a little better than other people's, but it is nothing more than a guess. And sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong.
Yeah, I think we've learned that with price
And I'll
scam.
give you an example. So, like the whole agentic AI push and this concept that you're going to have an agent shop on your behalf.
I'm good.
I'm not so sure about that one, right? But you look, the number of people rushing into that space and people feeling that, you're going to hand your credit card over to an AI. You're going to give the AI some general prompt and it's going to buy and things are going to show up that you won't have interacted with.
I don't know. That one feels off to me.
Look, I'm having trouble seeing that one.
Yeah.
But when I go to industry events, I'm one of the only people in the world that have that doubt.
Oh, really? Okay, what about the one where you have an avatar and it shows up to meetings for you?
I don't get that either.
But did you see that one?
No.
It's essentially, it trains on your mannerisms. You essentially download your personality to it. It can take meetings on your behalf while you're... See, that one, doesn't it feel like the risk outweighs the benefit?
Not even the risk. I'm not sure what's the point of that.
Yeah. And maybe that's the season we're in with AI is everyone's trying to do everything because it's acceptable right now and everyone wants to be first.
Look, I'll give you another kind of cautionary tale. I mean, consumers. Now, again, depends on what kind of consumer you are. But this experience has held for me over the years.
Okay.
People are distrustful when you filter on their behalf.
Yeah.
So let's say there's
like,
a big set and they know what the set is, and you're only going to show them the 10 things you think they're going to like. No one believes that. Everybody believes that there's something in the 90% that you don't really know me well enough. Don't filter it all. I want to be able to look at it myself.
Yeah.
I think there's also an aspect of shopping that is almost like entertainment. So,
oh, yeah.
Like,
isn't there actually studies that say when you add to cart, it's actually higher dopamine than when you receive it in the mail?
Could be.
Because there's something about the experience and telling your brain, like, that's going to be mine. And I found that. And there's something psychologically more satisfying in those moments than when the delivery guy shows up.
People like to flip through a catalog or a magazine. So back in the day, you'd get a big catalog. I mean, you may spend half a second on the page, but you're flipping through the whole catalog.
Okay, Amazon did that came back out with the toys catalog. My kids circling stuff, dog-earing pages, like so giddy. And it brought me back to the 90s of doing that. And I was like, wow, it's because it's an experience. Turning the pages, wait, go back, look at that one. There's something about it that's tangible, which is, I'm kind of arguing against AI in a way. It's experiential.
Anytime we're expecting AI is going to be a great assistant, AI is not going to, at least in the short term, replace what you do.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you another thing that was humbling. There's a company called Bloomreach that back when they were early founded, they ran a test. They showed a picture of a red dress and they asked 200 people to say what the item was or to describe the item. And they got 200 different answers.
It's just a red dress.
It is hard when you ask, especially in the fashion space, when you ask people to use words to describe an item. It's even worse if it's a brand new trend that they're not really sure what to call it. They saw a picture, they saw someone on
I still
TV
feel that about
show.
Labubus. I'm like,
there you go.
Help me understand this.
Right? That words. It is. People shop visually.
Yeah.
They want to quickly be able to look through things, but they need to look through things to be able to say what they want. This concept that we're going to use in LLM to essentially say, okay, I have a wedding this weekend. It's on a beach.
Yeah.
Here's what color, whatever. Find me 5 dresses that cost $200 or less.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are going to be that comfortable with.
Because you're always feeling like you're going to miss something. I don't want to miss anything.
So, look, this is one of the things. We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I know. When it's reversed and I'm sitting in your chair and someone's asking me about what it was like to sell AI in the early days.
But I'm much more worried about if you get to one of my dresses, the way that dress looks on the page can make all the difference whether you're interested or not.
I just came up with a business idea. I go to Rainbow. I'm on the PDP page. I type in my height, my weight, and that I'm half Mexican, half Polish. It generates an image with just those 3 details and puts the SKU on it so I can see as close as possible. Obviously, it's not me. I don't want it to be me. I want it to be my likeness, and so I want to see how that SKU would fit on me.
Google has a tool that's supposed to do that.
Really?
That you can do virtual shopping, that it's got a picture of you and you can show it an item and it will attempt to show you what that item would look like on you.
I'm going to have like a beat them to it though. Yeah, I think, as many as cautionary tales as there are, I guess too, nobody really wants to be the one. You take a risk at a company saying, let's change a workflow, let's change a process, let's invest in it. And if it doesn't work, that's quite terrifying. I can see budget holders, people in your position, having to use a lot of discernment right now.
Look, we run lots of experiments. When we run experiments, we've all kind of agreed ahead of time what we think the benefit's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of set, here's the maximum it's going to cost us if it doesn't work. So we've essentially, we have a cost to run it. We think there's enough upside to try it. And if we try it, we win. And if not, we learn something and we move on. I think you want to be able to take enough bets so that you can, if you don't play, you don't win.
Yeah.
But you've got to do it in a way that if you lose, you don't get wiped out.
I think that has to, and this is an assumption, that you've been at Rainbow for 11 years because they've trusted you to do that, and you've been able to really try and change and grow. And
I've been lucky. Rainbow has a natural philosophy of, look, we're a big company,
huge,
900 stores, $1.5 billion in revenue. But in a lot of ways, we run like a mom and pop or like a startup.
Yeah, I've seen.
And they are very good at taking bets, and we all kind of, we're all on the same table when we take the bet. And if it doesn't pan out, we drop it and move on. It's not like we don't sit and dwell on the things that don't work.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of environment sets you up it encourages, the risk-taking, the experimenting. And that's really what you have to do to win.
Yeah. And I think even taking a risk on a startup, it both has a risk and some serious upside, which is move fast, scrappy team.
Yep.
What have you seen by partnering with these tiny startups like ours? Not just ours. You've done this before. What have you learned? I know it's not all
look,
unicorns.
Look, I've got 3 developers, right? So
lean team.
Walmart's got 3,000.
Right.
Right. So I don't get to take the same kind of bets that Walmart takes, even though they're one of our main competitors.
Right.
So the way we kind of extend those capabilities is to find startups who need a big brand to help prove out their concept or help finish them in kind of the last stages of development. And then they kind of act as an extension of our team. So, our ability to work with a Leica to kind of refine and bring this AI image generation for PDP to market, gives us the same capabilities that a Walmart would have, and maybe sometimes before, because we're taking we're able to take that bet with a smart outside scrappy player that they're not.
Right. Who moves fast and is willing to lean in.
We've been lucky and been able to do that time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And you develop a reputation as being a big retailer that a startup can come to kind of do that partnership and kind of co-develop some of their tech with.
I think if there's big retailers out there not taking those bets, it's leaving money on the table. I think, and yes, it's time and it's risk, and it's almost like its own project to bring in a startup.
There's always more people are followers than leaders, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way the world works.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always going to be some people that go first. It's always interesting to see how long does it take a technology to get adopted, to where we get past the point that, right? You were there for the early days of SMS when everybody thought it was, no one could imagine sending as much SMS as we do today, right? But now,
blew me away to work with the strategic customers at Attentive and just see those numbers. Being someone who receives those, you're like, wow, that's a huge business portion of
and
sales.
now everybody does it.
And now
everybody.
you have to.
Correct.
Like, it's table stakes. But I think what's been important for me to be on the AI side is to still hold the real world in its proper place. So Sundays, I like to just paint. But what I do when I have a canvas and I know my vision, I ask AI, what size should the cabin be? Where on the canvas should the horizon start based on perception? So I want it to look like there's a mountain background. I don't know. I've never been trained in art. But I want to do it.
That's cool.
So I use different AI tools to help me with scale and proportion. And then I just shut my computer and just paint once I know the size of the cabin and where the horizon should start. So I feel like there's ways that we can pull AI in to live more artistically in our own lives. Like I'm not going to go to school for art.
I mean, you're using it as a teacher. Right? Where you may not have access to somebody who could do that.
No, I don't know a single person that's oil painting, and that can help me with, because I wanted a valley with the river and then a cabin. But you can make that look really weird if you don't have your proportions and your depth correct. Great. I'll just pull it into chat. I'll tell them the size of my canvas, what I'm going for. And chat literally did like a grid for me. So I knew exactly where everything should go. And so this is where I'm like, I think you're kind of people that are very anti-AI. I'm constantly telling them it's making me more creative, more adventurous.
Look, I think people will, and it's funny, I think all the AI companies are starting to think about this. People need to see and hear more examples.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. Like, again, I consider myself on the edge of tech. I would have never thought about using ChatGPT to teach me how to paint.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In my head, everyone's painting now from chat.
I used it for electrical wiring.
Oh, yeah.
I
Careful with that one.
I tried to rewire something. I got stuck, and it's literally telling me, take apart, pull the wires, take a picture of the wires. And
you trust that? See, I'm still a little electrical.
It's amazing what it can do. And then you start thinking about the combination of its visual processing along with the text.
Yeah.
That's what I think is new. But people are going to need to hear about these examples. Like, that's a really cool example.
Yeah.
I bet there are hundreds of thousands of people in the world that would like to paint, that don't know where to start. And they hear an example like that. Maybe they'll go out and try it.
Right. Because it does make me curious about, I went to UC Santa Barbara, some of the best years of my life, clearly. I think about college for my kids. One, I have 3 of them, so that's going to be expensive if they decide to go. But 2, will college look the same, knowing that if you want to do art, you can access the art. If you want to be an electrical engineer, call up chat. That is going to change the trajectory of education in a way that I'm so curious about.
I think for your kids especially, the ability to use AI as a private tutor for whatever subject they happen to be interested in.
How amazing. And then they can switch by the day.
They will be able to, look, as somebody who grew up in a little coal mining town, right, that had no access to anything, right, in the days before the internet.
Imagine if you could have just taught yourself.
You were so limited to what you could learn or access. And now today, anybody that has a phone in their pocket has access to all the information in the world. And now with AI, the ability to access essentially a personalized tutor who can help you learn any subject that you happen to be interested in. It's a new day.
It's a new day. And I feel like we're so lucky to be a part of it. And
no doubt.
I mean, lucky. And
it's an exciting time to be alive.
It's an exciting time, and we have to steward it well. And I think that is what I mean by use it to paint, use it to identify leaves, and go on walks, and then use it to identify bird sounds. Like, there's so many ways we can actually reconnect.
I use it when I cook. I use it. It's now become my sommelier. I love it for wine pairings. Right?
There you go.
For something that, I enjoy wine, but I struggle with pairing the right wine with the right food. ChatGPT does a wonderful job of that.
Gotta love that. I will say too, like I'm all about bringing back the 90s in other ways though. I don't know if you've heard about the company Tin Can. I got one for my
No.
son. It's a tin can phone. It's a landline. And tin can to tin can is free. So now I hear a ring in the distance. It's a landline. My 10-year-old runs to the phone. He's planning his play date with his friend.
Oh,
And
no.
it's so cute. Or they just have these awkward conversations like, what are you doing today? Same. Well, I'm going to hang up now. It's teaching them the social aspect. And to be really clear, I'm not getting him a cell phone for a very long time. But this will allow that awkward, I still want you to learn to communicate and impromptu play on your own play dates. Great. Tin Can. They're like a tech company, really
I've got to
small
look that
company.
up.
You
That's
have to
really
look it up.
cool. Yeah.
So there's ways I think we're like, AI is on the rise, yes, but we all still crave human connection, art, cooking, wine. That all stays. And I just think if we can find ways to make those experiences even better, like those are the AI companies that are going to win, and then we're going to win.
It is a remarkable teacher that if you're curious, your ability to learn and continue to learn is now infinite.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody can have a world-class tutor in their pocket.
Yeah. It does make me go, okay, what I will say now, I'm like, wait, what should I be learning? What agent should I have set up? Now, I almost feel this opposite pressure of, am I productive enough? I have AI. I have no excuse not to be. So I think that's a very few people in the world probably feel that perfectionist pressure around AI. But I do think now that we know that, I know I can now learn piano and oil painting and how to speak French. Like now that I know that I can, you have to draw the limit somewhere. And or do you?
I mean, I don't know. Like I look at the whole ChatGPT health that they just announced last week. I mean, I think
What are your thoughts on that?
I think this has the potential to have a world-class clinician in your pocket, right? Now, we got to be careful that what it gets right or what it gets wrong. I know Google had some missteps with making some unhealthy recommendations.
I mean,
but this is going to bring where we clearly have a shortage of primary care docs.
Oh, yeah.
This has the potential to really make the world a healthier, less stressful place.
I mean, to be fair, when I was in urgent care with my son, they pulled out chat. And I was like, wait, I was just at home. I could have done that. And I do think that's
Look, I
interesting.
think even in LLMs should be a great second consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were a doc, I would probably I could learn to get really comfortable with having a backup. Right?
Yeah.
Letting the LLM, if it's fed the same information I am, I'd like to see its answer before I spout off.
Yeah. I would say I have had a negative experience where I came with my Aura Ring data and some theories from chat, and that was not met with a lot of like, I would say it was met with a bit of a threat. Like, don't come to me with ideas. I'm supposed to give you the ideas. I think that dynamic will change. I think it'll allow people to do their own research and come up with hypothesis, and then you can be your own advocate and bring it to healthcare. Not even just healthcare. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
people can be their own experts, and some people love that, and some people won't love that. I'm all about people advocating for themselves, though, first.
And I think it gives people yet another option. So you have some, look, it's, we clearly have a doctor shortage.
Mm-hmm.
And you get somebody that's got really lousy bedside manner and,
I've met them.
Gives you a curt answer to something that they really shouldn't. You now have someplace you can go to reprompt, get some information that maybe.
What if I just try to reprompt that person? I'm like, reprompt.
Right. That maybe tells you, okay, it's time to find somebody different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're right. It's quite the time to be alive. I'm grateful that you accidentally mentor me all the time. I'm like, help me. You've just been so generous with your time and your wisdom. And so where can people shop for Rainbow?
So we're at rainbowshops.com.
Okay.
So with an S on the end, so rainbowshops.com.
Shops.com.
We're on Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and all the social places, Facebook.
Okay. And if someone were to see any imagery on your site, is it potentially AI?
On Rainbow, it's a mix of the two. So I
So
challenge you to figure out.
it
right?
out. Love that. Well, thanks for being a pioneer and a friend and an entrepreneur. And yeah, I'm so excited to keep learning from you.
We love the partnership and couldn't be happier. So
Yay.
yeah,
We're grateful for you. Thanks, David.
thank you.